Welcome to my coffee channel. I am Thomas and I'm going to show you how to cup or review a coffee like a pro, at least how I do it anyway. And the main thing when you're cupping or reviewing a coffee is you need to be consistent on every coffee you do exactly the same. And you have to have the right equipment. So to start with, you need a decent coffee scale. This is a Coffee Gator, got it off Amazon, about 20 bucks. Several bowls, and I use a kettle with an adjustable thermostat set at 200 degrees. And I always use the same bottled water, so everything is exactly the same, consistent. So let's get started. Turn it on. And what we want to do is weigh out 9 grams of our coffee beans. So we're going to zero this out. I have some Lexington espresso here, really nice. We're going to weigh out exactly 9 grams. There we go. Slightly more, but anyway, so this is what 9 grams goes into one of your cups, bowls, whatever you want to use, but make sure they're about that size. And I already ground it. And you need a cupping form, review form. And actually I have all of these, I have links in the description of the video where you can download the cupping form for free, and links to Amazon to buy all of this equipment. But first thing you want to do is, once you've got it ground, is to, it's called the dry fragrance dry. Kind of like lemon zest. Each coffee is going to be different, but you know, this one's like a deep chocolate lemon zest. And you would want to make a note of this under notes. And you also want to rate how strong of aroma you're getting. So you score this anywhere from a 6 to a 10 in quarters of a point. And you can just see the form right up here. I'm going to put it right up there for you to take a look at what I'm doing. So anyway, once you have a good idea of that dry fragrance, you want to take your kettle. Actually, we want to zero this out again. And make sure we're set to grams. And we're going to want to use 150 grams of water. This is set to 200. You want to make sure to get it all wet. Oh, there we go. Actually, it was like 151. But anyway, 150 grams of 200 degree water. And we're just going to let this set for 4 minutes. Okay, our coffee has been sitting exactly 4 minutes, and this is called breaking the crust. You just sort of want to take your spoon and just sort of knock the top down. Then you want to get a whiff of it. And it's very sweet, citrusy, chocolate notes. And you would want to make a note of this under what we call the break under fragrance. Once you do that, we want to let our coffee sit up till we get to 15 minutes. Okay, our coffee has been sitting here for about 15 minutes now. So at 15 minutes, you want to sort of clean anything floating on the top. A little bowl, maybe scoop out some of the coffee in the bottom. And just to make a note, we're only cupping, reviewing one coffee here right now. If you were at a coffee competition, or if you were, say, a buyer for a coffee company, and you were planning on buying like a ton of coffee from somebody, you would want to make at least 5 different random samples out of, that 1,000 pounds to make sure they all were consistently the same. Okay. So this is about ready to be sampled. So we get our cupping spoon, or a big soup spoon, and you just want to get a little whiff and suck it in to make sure you coat your whole tongue with it. And like I said, if you were doing multiple coffees, you would want to have a glass of water here to clean your palate between each sampling. And like I said, if I was buying like a large lot, we would have 5 different little cups here, sipping each one to make sure they're exactly the same or close to the same. But anyway, so if once you're ready to cut, we want to go to our flavor. And what kind of flavors does it have? Chocolate, lemon zest, slight cherry. And so you would want to mark that. You would want to mark any flavor notes. And you want to go to each and every one of these categories. And the next one would be aftertaste. And aftertaste is how long does that flavor stay in your mouth after you've swallowed? Does it dissipate very quickly, or is it like still there a minute later, 30 seconds later? And this one has a very strong aftertaste. I'm still tasting it. So you'd want to score it accordingly. And there again, I have to reiterate consistency, that however you score your coffees, you want to try to do it consistently so they're accurate. And the next thing would be acidity. And acidity is how bright, how sharp is it? Does it sparkle? Does it feel lively in your mouth? There's a lot of confusion about what acidity is. But it's that very bright, sort of stimulating, makes your tongue sparkle. It's not bitterness. Some people confuse acidity with bitterness, and it's not the same. So you'd want to mark how strong that acidity is. And this one has a very nice acidity. And anyway, you'll see it right up to how I've scored it. And I do a little differently. Since this is an espresso on acidity, I would actually probably pull a shot of it too, and just make a note of those flavors. But like when I did a shot of this one, it had a very bright, intense, and that's what you want in an espresso, at least me. And the next one would be sweetness. And how sweet, a nice third tier, third wave coffee, second wave coffee. If it's really good, we'll have a lot of natural sweetness. Particularly if it's what I would call a naturally processed unwashed coffee. Would have a lot of cherry notes. And you would want to make a note of where that sweetness falls in on the scale. And after that, is there any hints of bitterness? A good coffee will have 0 bitterness. And this is a very excellent coffee, so no bitterness at all, so I mark it as such. And then the other one is a little tricky. It's called mouthful. And mouthful sort of goes together with aftertaste. It's like, does it feel slurpy? Does it feel like maple syrup? Does Does it feel runny like water? Does it fill your mouth with flavor? Or does it just dissipate really quickly? And that would be mouthful. And the next one after that is what we call balance. And balance can be a little hard one to learn. Balance is between the acidity and the sugars and overall taste. And like I said, when you're cupping a coffee, you want to be objective as possible. The whole idea of cupping is to be objective and try to take as much of the subjective factor out of it. So depending on who's doing the cupping, that it carries from one person to the next, hopefully. And the next one is called defects. And defects, hopefully it's a really good coffee, you won't have it, but on defects you would want to smell it. Is there any weird smells, unpleasant smells? Is there any sort of unpleasant taste to it? Most coffees, if it's a good coffee, won't have anything there. But I had a coffee a while back and it tasted very menacing. It tasted like I don't know, like I hate cough syrup when it was just. So you would want to deduct some points there if it had any odd flavors, odors, and make a note of it, what it was. And the last one is what I call overall drinkability. And this is where you do get some subjective, because everybody's going to have a different, what they like and don't like. And this is kind of like, how much would you want to drink this coffee again? Would you want to drink it again? Or it's like, hey, I'm done with it, I don't want to have this coffee anymore. So you would want to rate what you think the drinkability of that coffee is. And finally, I would make any sort of outstanding notes at the bottom of my coffee form. And anyway, I'm going to take this form, you'll see it at the very end, filled out. And that's basically how you cup of coffee. Like I said, if this was a competition, the only difference would be you would be doing 5 samples of each coffee just to make sure they were all consistently the same. And if they weren't, you would be making a note of that they were not all the same. And you probably wouldn't want to buy that coffee, or you just want to rule that one out if they're not consistent. So anyway, that's how you cup of coffee. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming to the channel.